What's up? What's up? Hello orchid fans, what's up? It's Kintare here and I've got another repot video, and this is repotting my Paphiopedalum blackjack. So it dropped its bloom, I think it was actually yesterday or a couple days ago, and it's a total mystery because I can't find the flower. I can't find where it dropped. So I don't know if it maybe dropped on the floor and the dogs maybe took it away. I have no idea, but yeah, I can't find it. But yeah, when I did my video about what I'm gonna be repotting, which was probably now a couple months ago actually, I said that I want to repot this Paphiopedalum as well, but I said I will wait until the blooms finish so that I don't disrupt that. So now that the bloom is gone, I think it's ready for the repot. So you can see the roots are absolutely amazing on this plant. It's really doing super well, but it's potted in the seedling bark, and seedling bark goes off pretty quickly. So this is why I want to repot it, because I think this bark is gonna go off soon, and Paphiopedalum roots apparently hate being in like sour media. So Paphiopedalums like to be repotted once a year, and yeah, and because they like water retentive media, this is why I chose the seedling bark. So I'm trying to take the tag off and it's just completely stuck. So I'll maybe just take it out together with the orchid. Yeah, so it really likes water retention, water retentive media. So you can see this bark is basically wet all the way through the pot. So I've got a microfiber in there, and I always keep some water in the pot, and that's how I ensure that this pot doesn't dry out. And I mean, this is solid, you guys, so it must have loads of roots in there. And it does like moss, sphagnum moss, being potted in that, but again, I'm just kind of afraid that it will, the moss will go off a lot quicker. So and if this plant doesn't like sour media, I just feel like this is not something for me. But you can kind of see that I've got some media already prepared, and what do you know, it's all leca. So I am thinking, because this plant doesn't like sour media, if I ever miss the mark or I don't have time to repot all my plants so often, I would rather pot them in inorganic media, not worry that the media will go sour. So that's basically my reasoning behind potting so many plants in inorganic media. I am still so new to this, and I'm still kind of experimenting with it and trying things out, so I'm not saying I'm doing everything right, but I have seen enough people growing their plants in inorganic media successfully that gives me comfort that it's doable. And I don't know, a lot of people kind of almost say that you're forcing plants into inorganic media, they want to grow in bark, and you're just the plants will survive in inorganic but they're never gonna thrive. I don't know, I don't really agree with that statement. I think that you need to provide the environment that the plant wants. How you provide that, it's really up to you. I mean, orchids don't grow in pots in nature, right? So why do we put them in pots? It doesn't matter what you put in the pot. Let's just think about the pot to begin with. But we put them in the pots because we can't provide a humid air or humid environment for our plants. So to compensate for that, we put them in the pot so that the roots have moisture for longer. They shouldn't be really growing in the pot. So so if you think about it that way, I mean, anything we do with our orchids is really for them to survive, but they never thrive. You know, none of these methods are really the way the orchids should grow. So I guess a mount, like a bark mount, would be the closest, but it's still not the same. So I don't know, I think that, you know, we just really need to think of what the orchid wants and how do we provide it. And it could be different for everybody. You know, it depends on your environment as well, depends on your setup, depends on, you know, how much humidity you have in the air. And you know, that's why a lot of people, when they move their orchids to a different, oh, I just lost the root, it just dropped from somewhere. You know, a lot of people, when they, for example, move their environments, so for example, they grown it in home, and then they build a greenhouse and move all their orchids into the greenhouse, and then suddenly, you know, a lot of orchids start going down, and you're thinking, well, why would that be? You know, because the greenhouse is a better environment, it's warmer, it's got more humidity, but it's all about the media. Because if you've been growing at home and you had more kind of water retentive media, like maybe sphagnum moss, maybe smaller bark, you know, when they got into this other environment with more humidity around them, they don't need so much water in the pot, so they actually just start rotting. So it's all about, you know, first of all, how do we grow our orchids, where do we grow them in, and then we need to figure out what media we need to put them in to provide the best care. And it can be different. So I'm never gonna say that, you know, leca will work for everybody, or that organic media will work for everybody. I think it's more just keeping an open mind and, you know, just trying things out and see what works best for you and for your orchids, right? So that's just my way of thinking. You know, I'm not saying I'm right or I'm wrong. I don't know. That's just how I look at it. So yeah, I've taken all the bark off, or a lot of bark off, not all of it. And yeah, some of these roots are a bit weird because they are good roots. You know, you can see I've got some grow tips here at the bottom as well, but yeah, they're kind of just drop from the base of the plant. So I don't know if these are just all the roots. You know, some of them are actually old and tired. You see, they just kind of pull off, so there's nothing inside them. But yeah, the majority of roots seem good. But yeah, some of them are just kind of falling off. So I mean, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 fans, including the ones that are still in growth. So I took away maybe 2 or 3 fans a few days ago because they were all just, so like this one, you see, it's also quite tired. So honestly, I just started lifting them off and they just came off straight away. So I don't know if that's because they're just old fans and, you know, it's just their time to go, or if something is going on at the base of the plant. And as I was inspecting this plant, I saw some white on this new growth, you know, just in the crevices, and I was thinking, oh my god, is that scale? But I don't think it is. I think that this is the, you know, I use garden lime, which is basically powder, white powder, and I put it in the pots. And sometimes if I'm lazy, I don't lift every single pot out of the shelf. I just go around the shelves and just, you know, sprinkle some of it in the pots, but some of it can go on the leaf, or, you know, and it just looks like white, you know, white powder. You know, you can even see some here, hopefully you see here in the middle of the leaf. But I think that is all garden lime, it's not scale. But yeah, I think it's actually okay. I'm just being paranoid. So I will put this in here and just try and wash off any bark that I didn't take off. And it's washing off pretty well, which is great. And hopefully with the inorganic media, I won't have to worry about the media going sour, but at the same time, hopefully I might not need to repot it every year. It's not gonna be as critical doing that. On the other hand, if I put this now in the inorganic media, it might object and a lot of roots might die, so you know, there is that. But it has been, you know, you can see this media here, it's totally wet all the way through, so it's not like it was sitting in a dry pot, you know, with big bark, and now it's going into a water retentive media. I mean, it is used to very damp media, let's say. So yeah, we'll see how it does. So let me get all this mess out the way and we can get to potting. Alrighty, that's me back. So I've got everything cleaned up, so let's get this orchid in the pot then. So let's see if I need to crock the pot or if it needs to go in right now. So I'm putting it back in the same size of the pot, which I know it seems a little bit crammed, but I really don't want to move it into another pot, into a bigger pot, especially after it lost so many fans. It just, you know, I just don't want to have it in a huge pot. So let's see if I can try and wiggle the roots downwards with them. If they keep growing, they can go down into the pot rather than around the pot. Do. So one thing I want to try and do is actually lift that microfiber up. Okay, so I'm just gonna hold it like this and try and start pouring some leca in. But yeah, there is actually, you know, the middle of the pot is totally empty. All the roots are just on the edges, so they should have enough room, if they need to go inside the pot rather than cram on the outside. So hopefully it will have enough space. So I'm first of all putting bigger pieces in the pot, and then I will I'll add smaller beads on the top just to kind of keep that top layer a little bit more humid. So I think I can let go of this microfiber now. It is quite high up, it should be okay. And I think that is my path repotted. So there is still a lot of air gaps in there, but I already broke a few roots, so I really, you know, don't want to keep pushing the leca down and breaking potentially more roots. So I think I'm just gonna have to leave it like this for now. I always keep it in this outside pot, so you know, it's not got any holes on the sides, the plastic pot, so it won't have too much air around the roots, I don't think. This is a terrestrial orchid as well, so it doesn't want too much air around the roots, so I hope leca will do well for it. I still think, you know, this pot is slightly too small for the amount of roots it's got, but we will see how it goes. I mean, if it doesn't start you know, dropping all of its roots now that it's in leca, then a few months later we can think of maybe moving into a bigger pot. But for now, let's leave it like that. We'll see what happens. If it starts dumping its roots, then, you know, we will need to repot it anyway, and then we can cut all the roots or most of the roots and, you know, put it back in the same pot, because then it will be plenty of room in here. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens now. I hope it will like it. I hope that it will actually do quite well, because as I say, the bark media was always quite damp, so it is used to sitting, you know, in a damp media. So hopefully it will be okay. But that's my repot. I'm not gonna cut the spike yet. I will see what happens with it. Hopefully, you know, it should probably dry up on its own, and then I can cut it once it's dried. But right now I'll just keep it. I know, you know, it's not gonna push out a new flower, not, at least I don't think it would. But if we can draw the nutrients out of the spike, then I'll let it do that, and then I can cut it afterwards. So that is my beautiful Paphiopedalum blackjack repotted. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!